Yeah, you read that right. Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. is official as the main event of UFC 307. A month before Magomed Ankalaev fights Alexander Rakic. How does Khalil Rountree deserve the title fight over Ankalaev? The only way I can see this is if Ankalaev cannot fight outside of the Middle East and Pereira cannot fight outside of like America or something, which I don't think is the case. I think they could make this fight, but it probably would have to be in the Middle East maybe, because UFC 308 is the card that Ankalaev is fighting Rakic, and that's in Abu Dhabi, right? That's headlined by Pereira versus Holloway. So I wonder why they're having Pereira fight Rountree a month before. Like, did Joe Rogan convince these guys for Rountree to get a title fight or something? Because they are really close friends? I doubt it, but it's so strange how Rountree, who hasn't beaten a single top 5 opponent, is getting a title shot. He is on a 5-fight win streak, almost all knockouts. His last win against Anthony Smith was his biggest one, but I don't know, man. I think the game plan is to have Alex Pereira's options open for a super fight. Whether that's Adesanya beating Dricus, he comes up to fight Pereira at 205. But if, let's say, Dricus beats Adesanya, then they have the option to put Pereira in the heavyweight super fight, either against John Jones or Tom Aspinall. Maybe that's the plan with Pereira, getting this fight with Khalil Rountree, because, okay, I like Khalil Rountree. He's very exciting. I love his fighting style. His knockouts are crazy. But Pereira is going to show him there's levels to striking. Pereira is better than Rountree in pretty much every aspect of striking. The way that Rountree can win is if Pereira makes some kind of mistake with his defense. Let's say he drops his hands at the wrong time and Khalil Rountree's throwing a big punch at that exact same moment, catches Pereira and puts him down. Can you imagine? Khalil Rountree is the guy that knocks Pereira out. He does have the power and he's fast enough to do it, but technically, Pereira is way better than Khalil Rountree. Rountree is Bangkok ready, but he has nothing for Shaman magic. Pereira is fighting on like an astral plane as well as the physical one. That's where all of that power in his hands come from. Wow, that is crazy, man. It should be Magomed Ankalaev in there. There's no other light heavyweight that deserves a title fight over Magomed Ankalaev. His last loss was in 2018, and since he's been winning, he has 1 draw and 1 no contest. The other fighter that could potentially have gotten a title fight was maybe Jan Blachowicz if it wasn't Ankalaev, but Blachowicz is still injured, I think. He pulled out his fight with Rakic in January, and he may still be out due to the surgery. So if Jan Blachowicz isn't ready, you gotta throw in Ankalaev. There's nobody else. He's one of the few fighters in this division that can wrestle somewhat decently, and Pereira needs to go up against a wrestler before he goes to heavyweight, because those guys are gonna take him down right away in their fights. And a fight with Ankalaev would be very good, I guess, practice in a way to get prepared for John Jones or Tom Aspinall. But the fact that he's going up against another striker is kind of crazy, man. Like, I'm a huge Alex Pereira fan. He's my favorite fighter to watch right now. But rankings need to matter, and contenders need to have a lineup to fight for the title. The best thing that Khalil Rountree did was beat Anthony Smith by TKO. Ankalaev also beat Anthony Smith by TKO in 2 rounds rather than 3 for Rountree. He also knocked out Johnny Walker. He beat Thiago Santos. He beat Volkan Oezdemir. He beat Nikita Krylov. He went to a draw with Jan Blachowicz. Like, he did way more than Khalil Rountree. Way more. It's not even a debate. Again, if it was Jan that got a title fight, I could kind of see it. Him and Pereira had a close fight before. He went to a draw with Ankalaev. He beat Adesanya, you know, former champion. It might make more sense for Jan Blachowicz to get a title fight over Khalil Rountree, but the fact that it isn't Jan, and it's also not Ankalaev, that makes absolutely no sense. So I do think the plan is for Pereira to fight Adesanya if Adesanya beats Dricus. But if Dricus beats Adesanya, they might throw Pereira up into the heavyweight division for some massive fights, because do you know how big John Jones versus Alex Pereira would be? There'd be no other fight in the UFC, excluding Conor, that would be as big as that. That would easily sell over 1 million buys. That might be one of the few title fights without even needing a stacked card that can sell close to what Conor sells in some of his fights. John Jones versus Alex Pereira for the heavyweight title. Do you know how messed up that would be for Tom Aspinall, though? This is why contenders and rankings need to matter in every division. Pereira should be fighting Ankalaev. The winner of Dricus and Adesanya is going to fight Sean Strickland, most likely. John Jones should be fighting Tom Aspinall, but the fact that him and Stipe are fighting, the winner of that should fight Tom Aspinall and nobody else until they clean out their divisions. That's when super fight should happen, when a champion has cleaned out his division or has gotten 3 title defenses at least, right? Now, this will technically be the 3rd title defense for Alex Pereira, but the fact that it's against Khalil Rountree is kind of crazy, right? Like, the wins against Yuri and Jamal Hill, amazing for him, right? Those are excellent wins. But then he goes and fights Khalil Rountree. I think Khalil Rountree is like a little bit of a step below Jamal Hill, but this just seems like a layup for Alex Pereira to win. I don't know, man. It's going to be an exciting fight. One of them are getting knocked out 100%, and then we'll see what happens with the winner of that fight. If the winner fights Ankalaev, then this matchup with Khalil Rountree is really confusing.